Pedro Pascal is throwing his support behind Rachel Zegler. He made this in a recent Instagram stories post describing her as an icon. You can see this over at phantompulse.com. Pascal shared this, again, as I said, to Instagram stories, shared a picture of Zegler, tagged her, and then described her as hashtag icon. While it's unclear exactly what Pascal was attempting to do, the post does come in the wake of Snow White bombing at the box office. The film only grossed $42.2 million in its opening weekend and declined 66% in its second weekend to just $14.2 million. It was best by Jason Statham's A Working Man here domestically. So far, the film has only grossed $66.8 million domestically and another $76.3 million internationally for a global gross of just $143.1 million. The domestic box office is trending very similar to the Marvels, and we know that film didn't even do over $200 million globally, so not looking good for this film whatsoever. After the film bombed, though, it was reported that Rachel Zegler agreed to getting a social media guru. I think this was a hit piece done on the behest of the Walt Disney Company that was written by Tatiana Siegel over at Variety. That piece, or in her piece, she revealed that Snow White producer Mark Platt had multiple meetings with Zegler about her social media posts calling to free Palestine and wishing Trump and his supporters never know peace. According to the report, Platt was able to convince Zegler to work with the aforementioned social media guru paid for by Disney to vet any posts before the film's March 21 bow. And that was done after she trashed President Trump and his supporters back in November. So I think it is highly likely that Pascal is showing his support for Zegler and her various political causes, given he supports them as well. I think that is exactly what he is doing. He's not sharing pictures of Jason Statham celebrating his toppling of Snow White at the box office. No, he's sharing a picture of Rachel Zegler to his Instagram story. And as I said, I think it is because of her various political causes that she supports, and he supports them as well. We'll just list off a few here. He obviously has a dislike and I think possible hatred for President Donald Trump and his supporters. Back in 2020, he compared Donald Trump and his supporters to Nazis. He posted this: losers in 1865 with a Confederate flag, losers in 1945 with a Nazi flag, and then losers in 2020, the Make America Great Again hat. Which I actually don't think MAGA lost in 2020. I think there is plenty of circumstantial evidence now showing that not all things were right about that election. And I think 2024 very clearly points to that as well, given the fact that how well President Trump dominated the 2024 election against Kamala Harris. So, as I alluded to earlier, Zegler has also made posts about her hatred of President Trump and his supporters. She posted this at the end of November on her Instagram story: "May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace." In another one, she added "F Donald Trump." And then she goes on about how, like, she's not actually she's calling for people to love and not hate, while she's literally hating throughout all of her piece. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. And it just goes back to the fact that these people don't care about the contradictions. They don't care about the hypocrisy. It's all about obtaining power and then using that power to destroy things. And that's exactly what we've seen with Rachel Zegler, and I think what we see with Pedro Pascal in many ways as well, too. Pascal has also shown support for Palestine. Pope Francis has also said that that area is suffering from inhumane attacks. And I agree with him. I think what is happening over there is just absolutely terrible. I think that there should be a ceasefire. And I believe they came to one in January. I'm not sure if they've started up again. I haven't really followed the news on that part. But all of the death, destruction that was happening over there was just absolutely appalling from both sides. So I actually agree on this stance here with Pedro and Rachel Zegler. But he said back in December 2023, he shared his support back in December 2023. He shared a poster reading "Ceasefire Now" and included a link for his followers to donate to Doctors Without Borders. And as I also talked about earlier, Zegler posted the Free Palestine post in August 2024 after reacting to the number of views the Snow White trailer had. So you can see that right there on your screen. And then both actors also support evil gender ideology. Zegler made her support clear while canceling Pedro Pascal's The Mandalorian co-star Gina Carano. This is what Zegler wrote back in 2020 after Gina had basically refused to put pronouns in her bio and support gender ideology, and instead did like the beep bop boop thing. And Zegler says, do not make fun of pronouns. They are not a joke. Pronouns are validating. Pronouns are cool. Put your pronouns in your bio. I wear my pronouns on a button sometimes. It's a good thing. Bye. And then she responded a couple minutes later saying, it's a fun time to remind you all to love Pedro Pascal, making it abundantly clear she was talking about Gina Carano and clearly engaging in the cancellation of her back in September there. And then she shared a picture of her button that she wears. Now, obviously, talked about this in a number of videos. Gender ideology is obviously evil. It is trying to lie to people and tell and get you to lie too, as well, if you embrace any of the pronoun stuff, because a man cannot become a woman and a woman cannot become a man. And if you are using pronouns to identify a man as a woman, you are engaging in a lie, and there is no reason to ever lie at all. You should never be lying. Lying is wrong. And that's all about what gender ideology is clearly trying to do. It's all about pushing a big lie and trying to get other people to buy into that lie, and it does it through trying to shame people, which is exactly what Rachel Zegler is trying to do here through emotional manipulation, this false compassion for these people. And Pedro Pascal has engaged in this as well. He did this actually just this year. He posted this to Instagram, this photo of this sign that says, a world without trans people has never existed and never will. There's no such thing as a trans person because a man cannot become a woman and a woman cannot become a man, no matter how many surgeries you have, no matter how many drugs you take. It is just impossible. It cannot happen. So there's no such thing as a trans person at all. And then he also added this: I can't think of anything more vile and small and pathetic than terrorizing the smallest, most vulnerable community of people who want nothing from you except the right to exist. Well, I can think of something. It's what you're doing right now. It's you encouraging these people to butcher themselves. It's you encouraging these people to lie to themselves. It's encouraging you to lie for them. It's encouraging other people to engage in this type of behavior where they are applying themselves with drugs and potentially leading themselves to mutilate themselves. That is way more vile than having people say you shouldn't be doing that. So completely has his moral compass backwards there, trying to say what is evil is right and what is right is evil. And again, this is this false compassion, this emotional manipulation that these people engage in, and that's exactly what Pedro Pascal was doing right here as well. So I think that is exactly what he is doing here. I think he is sharing his support for Rachel Zegler after she was thrown under the bus by the Walt Disney Company with that Variety hit piece by Tatiana Siegelwich. Incidentally, they did throw Disney under the bus too, but definitely was clearly trying to throw Zegler under the bus. And Pascal is showing his support for her, and I think he's doing it because he supports her on an ideological level. We did not see Pedro Pascal do any of this when Gina Carano was getting canceled by the Walt Disney Company. So I think that is that right there is extraordinarily telling. The fact that he didn't do it when Gina was getting canceled, he's doing it now for Rachel Zegler. What's the difference? Gina obviously disagrees with him on a number of political and ideological issues, where Rachel Zegler seems to be completely in line with all of the nonsense, for the most part, nonsense that he tries to push on people. But let me know what you guys make of what Pedro Pascal here did. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.